Among the many joys I have in serving as president of the Philosophical Research Society, PRS, is watching Manly P. Hall's foundational work, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, fly off of our shelves in our bookstore and warehouse. It is a beautiful and daunting book, and I frequently think of a young Manly Hall in his mid-20s composing this book in the mid-1920s for publication before the end of the Persons and the Centuries third decade. What an amazing time it was in Los Angeles and the world. People living in the 1920s were only a few years past the First World War and from their own influenza pandemic. World War I was responsible for the deaths of 20 million people. The 1918 H1N1 virus killed 50 million people worldwide. White supremacy spit forth its venom thanks in part to D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, which prompted a rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan, and by the mid-1920s, the KKK boasted a membership of millions. Women were granted the right to vote, while serving alcohol was prohibited through the Volstead Act, which produced an unprecedented wave of lawlessness and the birth of organized crime. The world and the nation were churning. Los Angeles in the 1920s also saw the birth of the film industry, and Mr. Hall befriended many of its stars through the years, including Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, and Burl Ives, among others. Manly also appeared in his own film, the astrologically themed thriller When Were You Born? The city itself doubled in size in the decade of the Secret Teachings of All Ages, which no doubt increased Hall's readership, though the book was shipped all over the world. Along with Hollywood's booming industry, there was oil and railroad money in Southern California. Some of that money may have supported Mr. Hall in the founding of PRS, including his travels and publications through the munificence of Carolyn Lloyd and her daughter, Alma Estelle. More important, perhaps, was that Southern California was emerging as a new Eden, a west of the West. Crass boosterism, the folklore of therapeutic climatology, and creative mythology caused a great migration to the area for those looking for new beginnings, healing, and wealth. Carrie McWilliams, the venerable historian of Southern California, argues that once these migrants arrived in a region that promised renewed health but had no medical infrastructure, they began seeking alternative methods of well-being. Put another way, Los Angeles was, for a number of reasons, becoming a city of seekers. Hall himself, in a 1932 lecture titled The Horoscope of Los Angeles, proclaimed, "Los Angeles is the greenhouse of America. It is a place of experimentation in which we are combining facts and producing new species. It is primarily fitted to be the greatest cultural center of the world, a city that is sacred in being a nucleus where the finer principles of life can come into expression."